You're this young woman in like 1920s Berlin, and you're saying you're Anastasia, the Grand Duchess Anastasia, the like only woman off who survived, right? Mm-hmm. You've got this mysterious past, obviously.
Yeah.
And you kind of look like her a little bit. And the whole world is just like captivated by your story. Mm-hmm. But get this, some people actually think she may have been a total fake. Mm-hmm. Like she got plastic surgery and everything to, keep up the act.
Oh, wow.
Talk about a plot twist, right?
It is a pretty crazy story. I mean, it's like a perfect example of how the whole Anastasia thing mixes up truth and fiction, but there's something deeper there too, right? Yeah. It makes you think about like identity. Who gets to say who we are? I mean, is it our past, mm-hmm. our genes, or just, how we see ourselves?
It's like that classic question, right?
Right.
Are we like born with a set destiny, or can we actually create ourselves? Mm-hmm. And in a world where everyone's obsessed with like makeovers and reinventing themselves, the Anastasia story, it just like hits different.
Right. We're constantly seeing these images of transformation everywhere, like reality TV, social media filters. It's easy to feel like we should always be trying to be some perfect version of ourselves.
Yeah.
But the Anastasia story, even with all the controversy and stuff, it reminds us that real identity, it's not just about how you look, it's about something way deeper.
Totally. It's about like accepting all the messy, complicated parts of ourselves. Right? Even the parts we wish we could like erase. I mean, let's be real. Who hasn't wanted to like totally reinvent themselves at some point?
Yeah, and that's where this whole identity crisis thing comes in, right? It's not just a teenage thing. It's something we go through our whole lives.
Really?
Yeah, we keep asking ourselves, like, who am I? What's my purpose? And today, it's even harder, With everyone trying to be perfect online, it can feel super overwhelming.
It's like we're always putting on a show. Yeah. Trying to look successful and happy and like we've got it all figured out. But what happens when that like fake self starts to feel wrong? When who you are online and who you are in real life, they're like totally different people.
Yeah, that's when the Anastasia story becomes so important. It tells us it's okay to not have everything figured out, to just accept that, who we are is always changing.
Oh, I like that.
It's about finding that balance, loving yourself, but also wanting to grow and be better and not losing sight of what really matters to you.
So it's not about fitting into some mold or being perfect. It's more about like realizing we're all works in progress, right. Always learning and changing.
Exactly. And there's actually research on this. Studies show that people who are cool with uncertainty, who are open to exploring different sides of themselves, they're actually more resilient. They can adapt better when things get tough.
So basically, ditch the perfect Instagram and just be yourself.
Pretty much.
I can get behind that.
And that brings us to another really interesting part of the Anastasia story, this idea of transformation.
Yeah.
It's something that resonates with us, like on a deep level, especially for women.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we're always being told we need to transform, right? Get a new look, a new job, a whole new life even. Mm-hmm. But is it all just surface level, or is there something deeper going on?
Well, there's a reason why we love those like rags to riches stories, the makeovers. When we see someone overcome something huge and come out stronger, it actually triggers this release of oxytocin in our brains. It's the like feel good hormone, right? It makes us feel empathy, connection, hope.
So it's not just about the like fairy tale ending. There's actual science behind why we love these transformation stories.
Exactly. And what's really cool about Anastasia's transformation, it's not just about how she looks, it's about how she grows on the inside too.
Oh, that's interesting.
She's not just getting a makeover, she's rediscovering her strength, her courage, who she really is.
So it's like the outside stuff is just a reflection of what's happening on the inside.
Right. She's taking back her identity, her history, her power.
I love that.
But it does bring up an interesting question, right? Are we like too obsessed with these transformation stories? Do they set the bar too high, especially for women?
That's a good point. We see all these images of like overnight success and crazy makeovers. It makes you feel like you should always be striving for more. And let's be honest, those stories never show the hard work, the setbacks, the messy parts of actually growing.
Right. Real transformation takes time and effort,
right,
and a willingness to like embrace the whole journey, even the bad parts.
So it's not about trying to change everything overnight. It's more about those small, consistent changes that make you grow for real.
Exactly. And that's what we can learn from the Anastasia story. It's not about becoming someone else. It's about becoming the best version of yourself.
I like that. It's like realizing you already have everything you need inside. It's just about, bringing it out, even if it takes time.
And now let's talk about a different kind of transformation, the kind that comes from nostalgia.
Oh, nostalgia, that warm, fuzzy feeling that takes you right back,
And speaking of, like, going back in time, can we just talk about the 1997 Anastasia movie for a sec? The music, the animation, the story, it's like pure childhood for so many people.
It really is. And it's crazy how a film can make you feel so much, right? There's actually science behind it too. Nostalgia, it's not just sentimental, it actually activates the reward and emotion centers of your brain. It gives you this sense of comfort, like a connection to your past.
It's like a mental hug from your younger self. And honestly, with how crazy the world is right now, it's no wonder we love those, like, comforting escapes.
Totally. And research shows that nostalgia can actually be good for you. It can boost your mood, help with loneliness, even make you more optimistic about the future.
So rewatching your favorite childhood movie or listening to those old songs, it's not just a guilty pleasure, it's actually healthy.
It can be. But there's a flip side too, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes nostalgia can be a way to, like, escape reality, to avoid dealing with problems by holding on to some perfect version of the past. That makes sense. It's like the difference between using nostalgia to make you feel strong.
Yeah.
Versus using it as a crutch.
Exactly. And it's something to be aware of, especially now. We're constantly surrounded by nostalgia, you know, in ads, in movies, everywhere. It's easy to get caught up in that longing for a simpler time and forget about what's possible right now.
So it's all about balance, right? Enjoy that warm, fuzzy feeling, but don't lose sight of the present.
Exactly. And that brings us to another fascinating part of the Anastasia story. The whole unsolved mystery thing. I mean, the real story, you know? The Romanov family's execution, the rumors that Anastasia might have survived, it had the whole world hooked for decades.
It's like a real-life soap opera. Conspiracy theories, imposters, plot twists. But why are we so drawn to unsolved mysteries? What is it about them that just sucks us in?
Psychologists think it's because our brains are wired to want closure. When a story's left unfinished, it creates this, like, cognitive itch that we just have to scratch.
It's like when you can't find your keys, right? You know they're somewhere.
Yeah.
But you can't stop until you find them.
Exactly. And with these mysteries, those missing pieces can become like an obsession. We go over every detail, analyze all the evidence, come up with crazy theories, all to try and make sense of what we don't know.
And sometimes those theories can get pretty wild, right? But isn't there a risk when we romanticize these unsolved mysteries? Like, do we lose sight of the real people who were hurt, who suffered because of these tragedies?
Yeah, that's an important point. It's important to remember that these mysteries involve real people, real losses. And while finding the truth is important, we also have to be sensitive and respectful.
So again, it's about finding that balance, the fascination with the unknown, but remembering the human side of these stories.
And it's about using that fascination in a good way. Instead of getting lost in conspiracy theories, you know, we can use our curiosity to learn about history, challenge our beliefs, try to understand the past better.
So basically, take that itch and use it to learn and grow, even if we never get all the answers.
Exactly. And now let's bring this all back to today. Why do we still care about Anastasia in the 21st century? What makes this story, which is over 100 years old, still relevant to our lives?
It's a great question. What can we, actually learn from her journey that applies to us now? Especially as women, you know, navigating a world that feels like it's constantly changing. It feels like there's something timeless about her story, doesn't it? Like her struggles, her triumphs, they speak to something we all experience.
Oh, definitely. The themes of resilience, identity, finding your place, they're just as important today as they were back then. And for women especially, Anastasia's journey, it's like a roadmap for navigating a world that can be pretty overwhelming.
I love that, a roadmap.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, most of us aren't princesses trying to find our throne, right?
Right.
But we are all trying to find our place in the world, to figure out who we are and what we're supposed to be doing.
Exactly. And that's the real magic of the Anastasia story. It's not about the fairy tale ending or being royalty. It's about changing from the inside, discovering yourself, having the courage to be who you truly are.
So how do we actually do that? Like, apply those lessons to our own lives. We may not be fighting evil wizards or finding lost family, but...
Well, remember those 3 key themes we've been talking about. Reclaiming your narrative, valuing resilience, and celebrating individuality. Those are the building blocks for your own Anastasia moment, you know?
Okay, I'm ready to build. Let's break it down step by step.
Right. So, reclaiming your narrative. It's about taking ownership of your story. Realizing you have the power to choose your own path, even if it means going against what people expect, or challenging the way things are supposed to be.
It's like saying, I'm not going to let anyone else define me. I'm writing my own story.
Exactly. And that might mean having those tough conversations, you know? setting boundaries, or going after those dreams you've been putting off. It's about taking those bold steps that feel right to you, even if they're scary.
Because let's be real, those scary steps are usually the most rewarding, right? They push us to grow and become more.
Totally. And that's where resilience comes in. It's about knowing that setbacks are going to happen. It's not about avoiding failure. It's about how you deal with it.
So it's like that saying, fall down 7 times, get up 8.
Exactly. It's about seeing challenges as opportunities to learn and grow. About building that inner strength that helps you bounce back even stronger.
And sometimes that means asking for help, right? Just like Anastasia had her friends who supported her through the tough stuff.
Absolutely. Having people around you who believe in you, who lift you up, it's so important, especially when things get hard.
Okay, so we've reclaimed our narrative. We're building resilience. Now it's time to celebrate individuality. How do we unleash our inner Anastasia and really embrace what makes us unique?
This is about recognizing that all those things that make you different, your quirks, your passions, your perspective, those are your superpowers, not your weaknesses.
I love that.
It's about resisting the pressure to fit in and instead celebrating what makes you stand out.
It's like saying, this is me, take it or leave it.
Exactly. And it's cool. Studies show that people who embrace their individuality, who are true to themselves, they tend to be happier and more fulfilled.
So ditch the self-doubt and rock your own style. I'm all for that.
Me too. And remember, celebrating individuality isn't just about how you look. It's about valuing your thoughts, your opinions, your dreams, even if they're different from everyone else's.
So it's about having the courage to be yourself, even when it feels weird or uncomfortable.
Precisely. And just like Anastasia's story keeps inspiring people, your story has the power to inspire others too. By being your true self, you give other people permission to do the same.
I love that. This deep dive has been amazing. We've talked about the mystery, the history, and the power of Anastasia's story. But most importantly, we figured out how to use those lessons in our own lives.
Absolutely. And remember, it's a journey, not a destination. You're going to face challenges, setbacks, times when you doubt yourself. But as long as you keep those 3 things in mind, reclaiming your narrative, valuing resilience, and celebrating individuality, you'll be on the right track to creating your own Anastasia moment.
That's a great way to put it. So to everyone listening, what's your next chapter going to be? What adventures are waiting for you? Go out there and write your own story. A royal one, of course.
Yeah, it really is. It's amazing how a film can transport you back in time,
Right.
And there's a real reason for that. Scientifically, nostalgia, it's not just feeling sentimental. It actually activates these specific parts of your brain, like the reward centers, the emotional centers. And it gives you this feeling of comfort, like a connection to the past, to those happy memories.
It's like a hug from your younger self almost. And with everything going on in the world right now, it's no wonder we crave those feel-good moments.
Yeah, I totally get that. And there's research that shows nostalgia can actually be good for us. It can improve your mood, help with loneliness, even make you feel more optimistic.
So rewatching those old movies or listening to those old songs you love, it's not just a guilty pleasure.
Exactly. It can actually have benefits.
Wow. I never thought of it that way.
But there's also a downside to nostalgia, right?
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes it can be a way of avoiding things.
Avoiding.
Yeah, avoiding dealing with stuff in the present by focusing on kind of idealized version of the past.
That's interesting.
It's the difference between using nostalgia to empower yourself versus using it as a way to escape.
So it's about finding that balance again, right?
Yeah.
Like with the unsolved mysteries. Enjoy it, but don't get lost in it.
Exactly. You got it. And it's something to be mindful of, especially these days. I mean, we're bombarded with nostalgia everywhere we look, right? It's in marketing, it's in entertainment. It's easy to get swept up in it and lose sight of what's going on right now.
That's true.
Yeah.
So appreciate those warm fuzzies, but stay present.
Exactly. And that actually leads us to another really interesting aspect of the Anastasia story. The whole unsolved mystery thing.
Right, like the real historical mystery. The Romanovs, Anastasia's supposed survival.
Yeah. It had the whole world captivated for decades.
It really did. It's like a real-life soap opera. You've got conspiracy theories, imposters, all these crazy twists and turns.
Yeah.
But why are we so drawn to those kinds of stories? What is it about unsolved mysteries that just grabs us?
Well, psychologists think it's because, deep down, our brains crave closure.
Closure.
Yeah. When a story's left unfinished, it creates this cognitive itch, and we can't help but try to scratch it,
So it's like when you lose your keys. You know they have to be somewhere.
Yeah.
And it drives you crazy until you find them.
Exactly. You can't just leave it alone, can you? And with unsolved mysteries, those missing pieces, they can become like a total obsession.
Oh, yeah.
We pore over details, analyze every bit of evidence, come up with all these elaborate theories, just trying to figure it out, make sense of the unknown.
And sometimes those theories can get pretty wild, right?
Oh, totally.
But isn't there a risk in, like, romanticizing these unsolved mysteries? Do we sometimes forget about the real people who are hurt, the tragedy behind these events?
Yeah, that's a really important point. We have to remember that these aren't just stories. They involve real people, real loss. And while finding the truth is important, we also have to be sensitive to that.
So it's about that balance again, right? Like acknowledging the mystery, but also remembering the human cost.
You got it. And it's about using that fascination for good. Instead of just getting lost in conspiracy theories or sensationalized stories, we can use our curiosity to learn, to explore history, question what we think we know, try to get a deeper understanding of things.
So use that itch to fuel our desire to learn, even if we never have all the answers.
Exactly.
That's a great perspective.
And now let's bring it back to the present day. Why do we still care about Anastasia in the 21st century? What is it about this story that keeps us coming back, even after all these years?
Yeah, that's a great question. What can we learn from Anastasia's journey that applies to us now, especially for women,
Yeah.
Trying to navigate a world that feels like it's constantly changing.
It really does. It's like her struggles, her triumphs, they speak to something like universal, something we all go through,
Right.
Yeah, totally. The themes of resilience, identity, finding where you belong, it's all still so relevant today, just like it was 100 years ago.
Yeah.
And for women especially, I think Anastasia's journey, it's like a guide.
A guide.
Yeah, for how to navigate a world that can feel, kind of crazy sometimes.
I like that, a guide. Because let's be real, most of us aren't like lost princesses searching for our thrones.
Right.
But we are all trying to find our place, figure out who we are, what we're meant to be doing.
Exactly. And that's where the real power of the Anastasia story lies, I think. It's not about the fairy tale ending or like being royalty. It's about that inner transformation, the journey of discovering yourself and having the courage to be who you truly are.
So how do we actually do that? Like, take those lessons and apply them to our own lives. I mean, we might not be fighting, evil villains or anything.
Well, remember those 3 key themes we talked about.
Yeah.
Reclaiming your narrative, valuing resilience, and celebrating individuality. Those are the keys, like the building blocks for your own Anastasia moment.
Okay, I'm ready to build. Break it down for me.
All right, so first, reclaiming your narrative. It's about taking control of your own story, recognizing that you have the power to create your own path, even if it means going against what people expect,
Like making your own rules.
Yeah, and it might mean having those tough conversations, setting boundaries, or finally going after that dream you've been putting off. It's about taking those bold steps that feel right for you, even if they're a little scary.
Because let's be honest, those scary steps are usually the ones that pay off the most, right?
So true. They push us outside our comfort zones and help us grow. And that's where resilience comes in. It's understanding that setbacks are going to happen. It's not about avoiding failure, but about how you handle it.
So it's like, fall down 7 times, get up 8.
Exactly. It's about seeing those challenges as opportunities to learn and grow stronger, to build that inner strength that lets you bounce back no matter what.
And sometimes that means asking for help, right?
Yeah.
Like Anastasia had her friends who were there for her during the tough times.
Absolutely. Having a support system, people who believe in you and encourage you, that's crucial, especially when things get rough.
For sure. Okay, so we're reclaiming our narrative. We're building resilience. Now it's time to celebrate what makes us unique. How do we unleash that inner Anastasia and really own our individuality?
It's about recognizing that all those things that make you different, all those quirks and passions and, your unique perspective, those are your strengths, not weaknesses.
Oh, I like that.
It's about resisting the pressure to be like everyone else and instead celebrating what makes you stand out.
It's like saying, this is me, take it or leave it.
Exactly. And you know what? Studies actually show that people who embrace their individuality, who are true to themselves, they tend to be happier, more fulfilled.
So basically, ditch the self-doubt and just be yourself.
Pretty much. Rock your own style.
I can definitely get behind that.
And remember, celebrating individuality, it's not just about how you look. It's about valuing your thoughts, your opinions, your dreams, even if they're different.
So it's about being brave enough to be ourselves, even when it feels weird or uncomfortable.
You got it. And just like Anastasia's story continues to inspire people, your story can too, By being authentically you, you give others permission to do the same.
That's so powerful. I love that. This deep dive has been amazing. We've uncovered the mystery, the history, and the enduring legacy of the Anastasia story. But more importantly, we've discovered how to apply those timeless lessons to our own lives.
I totally agree. It's been a great conversation.
And to everyone listening, remember, it's a journey, not a destination. There will be ups and downs, challenges, moments of doubt.
But as long as you hold on to those three key things, reclaiming your narrative, valuing resilience, and celebrating your individuality.
You'll be well on your way to creating your own Anastasia moment.
Beautifully said.
So, to all our amazing listeners out there, what's next for you? What adventure awaits? Go out there and write your own story. And remember, make it a royal one.